My entire purpose of budgeting is to tell my money where to go so I can live the lifestyle I want to live now and later. But the theme of my life since I've been budgeting, and let's just say 2007 was that first year I've been budgeting, so it's been like 16 years. It's the independent, single, black, female budget. Just enter a new year. And I have had to do that many times where I planned my budgeting for the beginning of the year and I looked at the lifestyle that I wanted and what I wanted to do, and then I eventually would put my income and my projected taxes and work-related expenses, and I would see that difference and I would be like, bitch, you need a new job. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Stacy Elaine, and welcome to the Girl Boss Beauty community. We are fashion and beauty obsessed. We talk lifestyle, travel, fashion, skincare, but we are always cognizant of our budget and our bills. And in today's video, we are talking my 2023 budget. This has been a highly requested video ever since I did the video where I shared that I was laid off, but I made the decision that I did not want to start working in 2022, that I delayed my start date to 2023, and that I could financially do so because I had been budgeting and saving money for a rainy day like that. And so a lot of members of the Girl Boss Beauty community, a lot of people in my family as well were really shocked to hear that, especially as a fashion and beauty obsessed independent single black female. Like, how are you doing this? Why would you do this? Why would you delay making money? And the answer was because I could, number one. Two, I needed that rest. I needed that reset. And so I had paid into my emergency fund for such a time as that. And so that is what I chose to do. So I will tell you, if I was to give my budget a title, if I could name it, and I have been budgeting since the year 2005. So I graduated college, undergrad in 2004, and I started making a monthly budget for myself in 2005. I perfected it probably in 2007, and every year I make tweaks to the budget in Excel. But the theme of my life since I've been budgeting, and let's just say 2007 was that first year I've been budgeting, so it's been like 16 years. It's the independent, single, black, female budget. Just enter a new year. So I will tell you why I have that title. Number one, independent. What does independent mean? For me, I'm an independent woman because I know I can't depend on anyone else to take care of me now or in the future. That I have to plan as an independent person to take care of myself. So that's what independence means. You can be married. You can be single, but not independent. Because I know a lot of women whose parents would give them anything they want. And so really they're not like independent. They just make money up until the point they need something from someone in their family. I'm not that person. Either I get it for myself or I don't have it. Secondly, single. I'm unmarried. I do not live with my boyfriend, and there is no other source of income. So when I talk about my budget, everything that pertains to income and debts and savings all have to come from my streams of revenue. I am single. All the bills are mine. But also, all the goals are mine, and all of the visions are mine. And if I want to, all of the retweaks And changes are mine as well because I'm single, I'm not married, I don't have to consult anyone else in this plan. If I change my mind and want to buy something else with extra money, I don't have to consult anyone because I'm single. And that's what that means to me. Black. Okay. So why would I say black in my budget? Being black in America is expensive. Full stop. Period. It probably costs black people at the same income levels more to exist in this country, to get the same level of service for your lifestyle. It costs me more, way more, to get my hair done. Yeah. Way more. Like no comparison. As a black woman, if I wanted to go get my brows done, if I wanted to change up my hairstyle, if I wanted a haircut, even just clothes shopping, because clothing is not really manufactured for extremely curvaceous bodies that blacks normally have. And this goes for black men too. Every black guy that I've dated has had a problem and had to go get custom clothes. Because clothes off the rack just won't fit. Suits for most black men are custom made. It is rare that black men can pull a suit off the rack. It is so expensive. It costs more to be black. Remember that. And then it costs more to be female. Yes, ladies. Y'all know it. They charge us so much to be female. And it costs even more to be girly. If you want your brows done, if you want your lashes done, if you want manis and pedis and massages, if you want the soft girly life, if you want nice outfits, child, that comes with a price, and that also has to be in the budget. So that is why I would title my budget the way that I did. So let's fast forward to 2023. I normally always do my budget starting maybe in like November of the prior year. November 2022, I was happily unemployed. I couldn't even start my budget. I kind of started at the end of December, but I still had so many holes. There were so many unknowns because I was not working and I didn't have a lot of the information, like what's my pay period. I hadn't negotiated the final pay rate as well. And now I'm in a role where I get way more bonuses in the year and they come every quarter. And so there's much more flexible pay than base pay than what I'm used to. There's so many challenges that came with a 2023 budget, so that I literally could not have done this at the beginning of January. Thus, it's now the 23rd of the month. I feel comfortable sharing how I prepare my budget, and I can actually show you some actuals because I've actually paid all of my bills for the month of January as of the 23rd of the month. So, I didn't know my salary. I didn't know taxes. I didn't know any work-related expenses. And so when I show you the template, it will all be blank. But that doesn't matter because I already knew that money out of my savings account would cover my January expenses. And I felt very comfortable doing that so that, however much it cost me to live, that was going to come out of my savings for this month, or I planned on it. And so I was very comfortable with that as well. So all I could really calculate were, with some sort of accuracy, when I put my budget together, were two things. And these are the most important things. So it really did make me feel bad and it did make me feel sad. One, I had to come up with what were going to be my annual projected expenses. How much did I think it was going to cost me to live my lifestyle this year? And number two, debt. I already know how much debt I have. So I don't need anybody else. I didn't need to wait on anything to fill that in. And so Why I like starting budgets with expenses and debt? Because number one, your expenses, how much it costs you to live your lifestyle, it will tell you if you need to seek new employment. So that then would become a goal for the year along with your budget. And I have had to do that many times where I planned my budgeting for the beginning of the year and I looked at the lifestyle that I wanted and what I wanted to do, and then I eventually would put my income and my projected taxes and work-related expenses, and I would see that difference. And I would be like, bitch, you need a new job. And while you out here trying to make this budget work, you also need to find new work, i.e. a new source of revenue. And a lot of people don't think like this. I always say I'm not married to a company. I just date them. And so, if I feel like I'm putting in X, Y, Z effort, I feel like I should be getting at least X, Y, a little bit less than Z value in return. You're never going to get 100% of what you give to a company because they need to pay their shareholders with the difference. Let me just be honest. You're always going to be left a little short as an employee. Just saying. So knowing your expenses and knowing how much debt you have can tell you if you need to seek a higher paying job. Number two, it will tell you how much you actually will have to save, because we know you're going to pay your bills and you better pay your debts because you don't want no credit issues. And so because you're paying, you need the money to cover your debts and you need the money to cover your bills. Baby, it's only the difference you have to save. Now, these people who tell you to start saving at the top don't live in this world right here where the cost of living is high. No, you need to make sure you have enough money to cover your bills and your debt and your budget. And then we see what we can save later. And if you're not saving as much as you want, then this is how you can see if you need to make tweaks to your lifestyle. And this is all you find out from expenses and debt. Because you might find out how much it truly costs you to maintain the life you want to live. And that might scare you. When you get the real number in black and white in Excel, that might scare the shit out of you. And you might be like, oh no, we got to get rid of some debt and we got to get rid of some bills. And I have definitely been there before. Because right now, my whole goal with my budget and my bills are to have as few bills as possible and to have no debt. So let me start off with what are my financial goals for 2023. And then I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to share with you the to-do list that I have to give myself to execute my financial goals. It'll make sense, I promise, ladies. But while we're here, get your notepad, get your pen, and just know that every month I'm going to go live for our Girl Boss Beauty community money talks. We're going to have money talks. I'm going to go live. I've never been live on YouTube, but we're going to go live. Leave in the comments below your preferred date and time for me to go live and have a monthly financial budgeting, or just finance, because I want to talk about credit. I want to talk about investments. But let's have some money talks, right? Okay, let's get going. I'm really excited. My first goal for 2023, my first financial goal is to pay off all revolving debt by mid-year. So by June 30th, I do not want to have anything going over on my credit cards. Even, and this is the caveat, if it's a 0% interest rate. because I have really great credit. And because of that, I get offered 0% offers all the time. And sometimes, especially as it relates to my house, while I'm doing updates to it, I will take advantage of that and then pay it off more than likely really early. But I'm tired of carrying even that debt. I don't even want the 0% interest debt right now because I have other goals that I want to focus on. So I want to pay off all revolving debt by the mid-year period. Secondly, I have been living on my savings for quite a few months. So what I also need to do this year is to add 3 months of total expenses. And this is why it's great that I started by calculating and adding up how much it costs for me to live each month. Now I know 3 months of expenses I need to add to my emergency fund. And I am taking the most expensive 3 months, and that's January, February, and March. I have taxes that have to be paid, insurances for my home that have to be paid. I do car maintenance, car registration. Prince Mighty goes to the vet. Have all of these really high expenses at the beginning of the year in January, February, and March. And so for me to live for these 3 months is about $18,000. And I want to add $18,000 to my emergency fund. I need to find that savings this year, and I have budgeted for that. Thirdly, I do not want to add any new debt that isn't paid off at the end of the month, like before the bill even comes, because I do like putting things on my credit card and getting the points, baby. I have taken advantage of points. If you're not good at managing credit and paying stuff off when it comes, don't do this. Don't do this. But see, I'm disciplined, which is why I could do an annual budget from 2017 to 2023, right? I'm very disciplined. And you will be too after this year if you come along this Money Talks journey with me. Let me just say that. But I need to pay this off before the bill even comes. I don't want lingering debt. And that is a theme for me this year. 4, I need to start saving for a new car. I do not have a car note. I have not had a car note since maybe 2018, I think. Cars don't last forever, and I don't want to be shocked by having to buy a new car. So I want to start saving for a new car this year. Even though I love my car, I don't want to get rid of it. I'm just planning ahead. And I'm going to have this in a separate fund, separate from my other emergency fund items. I'm just saying. Because if I lose my job, I want to quit my job, I want that emergency fund to go for my normal bills and everything. But then if I have to go buy a new car, it's going to come out of a separate fund. And lastly, I need to save as much as I can for home remodeling. I bought a house 2 years ago. It's my anniversary week. Hip hip hooray! Girl, I could do a whole goddamn TED talk about home ownership as a single independent Black female in America. You will always be somewhere between, I love this house and this is a damn money pit. I'm somewhere in the middle right now. Let me just tell you that. And because of that, I need to save for things like, and I have my notes here, a refrigerator, remodeling my powder room, remodeling the kitchen, patching the roof, repairing the stucco, tearing out the guest closet, and leveling and putting new floors on the 3rd floor. That's all that's remaining that I have to do for my house. So I just put that in the list so that I know when I say I'm saving for my house and the remodeling and the update, that's specifically what I'm saving for. And I need to have that money so that this year I'm taking out of that fund. And I'm not taking from the if you get laid off fund. And I'm not taking from the if you need a new car fund. So now those are my 5 financial goals this year. So what do I have to do to execute that? So I gave myself some financial tasks. Number one, I need to open a new high yield online savings account first for luxury bag savings. By the end of the year, all future bag purchases will come from a bag fund. I'm going to have a very specific bag fund. I'm getting very, very specific with my savings accounts, if you can't tell, sis. So any bag I buy, it will have to be funded from the bag fund. And I'm putting that money in. I'm pre-funding the bag fund. I need an account for that. Number two, any extra money beyond all the saving I plan to do. As you can tell, this is a high saving year because we're teetering maybe on a recession and you need cash at hand. But recessions are also the best time to invest. But as a single independent woman who has used her savings to live for the last few months, my first priority is replenishing my savings. Secondly, it would be to invest. Some of y'all don't agree with that, and I know, but I'm telling you, this is how I've made it through quite a few recessions and lived on my own. It's because I believe in having a very good rainy day fund. And then beyond that, I save, and I have lots of money that I have saved in investments for retirement and that I save for in stocks and in REITs and all of this. I have all of this saved, and I have these investment vehicles as well, but they come after my savings. Because if you're single and you're independent and you can't depend on anybody but yourself, you're going to need cash on hand. And you got to make sure you have that cash. You don't want too much, but as you can see, I have a lot of expenses that might be coming up in the future, and I want to have that cash. Okay, so if I have any extra funds, it's going to go to investments because this is a great year to invest. Stocks are kind of down. Okay, now, number 3, we are going to open a new account for my car fund. I told y'all I need to start saving for a car. I need a fund specifically for that. And then fourth item on my list is that I have a lot of remodeling tasks for my house. And I feel in my heart of hearts, that it is best for me to hire a interior design and architecture firm to help me execute this, and that I would get the most bang out of my buck by having professionals like an architect and interior design team on hand to make sure that the work gets done well and right and professionally, and I don't have to do it again, and I'm using the best contractors and the best people, and I get exactly what I want with no regrets. So I want to hire an interior designer and an architect this year. So those are my 2023 goals, as well as the tasks that I have to execute my goals. So now let's take a look at my annual budget for 2023. I consider a monthly budget just a list of your inputs, your inflows, or your outputs or your outflows. So it's your money that's coming in, and I am very specific. So this is my gross. I even go all the way down to break out the taxes. I have my net pay here. And then any work-related expenses, I would have them here. As you can see, all of this is zero because, like I said, when I set up my annual budget, I didn't know any of this. Giving is basically zero, except that I know that I send $50 to a nonprofit every month, and it's called World Vision, and so I put that in there. I put nothing in savings, as I already mentioned, because I didn't know how much I could save because I didn't know what this top portion would look like. But I filled that in once I got going with my January budget, which I'll show in the monthly live. So as you can see in the first column, this is A. All I'm doing is listing out pay, work expenses, giving, savings. All of this. So then let's get to the meat and potatoes. My expenses. I put my expenses in the same column and I bold them because this, as I mentioned, is the most important part of my budget to me. And then when I have a bill, I put the due date because we're not going to miss it. So I have car insurance, I have home and flood insurance, I have to pay my mortgage, my cell phone, I have electricity, gas, water, internet. For cable, quote unquote, I use Sling TV and HBO Max. Then I have food. I break that out, food to eat at home, eating out, and then food at work, which I now have a remote role, so that should be 0. What else did I list? Gas for my car, miscellaneous spending, or when I just get cash out of the ATM, I will hold that here. Social engagements, just if I want to go to a concert, if I want to go, anything like that, a comedy club, just to have fun, I would put that here. Any expenses related to my blog or to YouTube, I put that here. Health and beauty and wellness, home expenses, home cleaning. I really have a goal to get a cleaning lady because it is hell cleaning a 3-story house by yourself. So it may be 0 now, but I am really manifesting a cleaning lady this year, or a cleaning company this year. I put my clothing, shoes, accessories, as well as the cost to maintain what I already own in one line item. So if I buy bags, clothing, shoes, whatever, I put it here. But also if that has to get repaired, that's a cost pertaining to these items. So I also put it here. Gifts, medical costs, subscriptions. This is where a lot of us modern women and men, we get tripped up. So what am I subscribed to? SiriusXM, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Vogue, Elle Decor, Google One, and Experian. Someone did try to hack and get into my credit. And so I have like extra eyes on my credit at the moment, and I'm paying Experian for that. I have a home alone. I have dog costs. Prince Mighty did have dental surgery the day that I got laid off. And then I decided, because I had just gotten laid off that day, that I would take advantage of a 0% kind of pay it forward. Like I just pay the same amount every month and there's no interest, but that's due on the 27th and that's his cost. Anything related to my car goes here. Travel expenses for when I am out and about and I'm traveling, and any flights, anything that I'm doing will go there, and then the gym will go here. So this is where I'm saying this is probably one of the most important line items, because this tells me how much it costs for me to live every month. And I have this broken down, as you can see, by pay periods. These are my old pay periods. I didn't know what my new pay periods would actually be, so I just know that I would get paid twice a month. I highly recommend breaking up your budget into pay periods, not just 1 month, because what we have to do is manage cash. You got to make sure you have enough cash on hand when things come due. So I put my bills into buckets where the pay goes. This again is actually not accurate, but I'm just showing this as this is the template. I did this for every month. As you can see, every month. And then I get to the end of the year and I have these totals. So I'm projecting that in my wildest dreams, if I could live the life I wanted to live, it would charge me or cost me $70,000 basically this year. Alrighty. I make more than $70,000 even after taxes, so we're good. That sounded okay. Now, let's go to debt. I have credit card debt. And most of my credit card debt, I would say, is 0% interest. And so I've never been big on like worrying about it, but now I'm just tired of it hanging over my head. So I just want to pay it off this year. And so PayPal is 0% interest. Citi is 0% interest. Best Buy is 0% interest. Home Depot is 0% interest. Floor and Decor is 0% interest. Like all of this, I have no interest, but I just want to pay it off early. And that is part of my budget plan. As I mentioned, I want to pay all of this off by mid-year. Now, I have some revolving debt, like if I just charge things in December, that now is on my travel visa because I did book, I think, something to New Orleans. I have a Nordstrom, or I should be looking here. I have a travel visa due on the 25th. Nordstrom is due on the 25th. American Express is due on the 27th. And then I have this Citi card that's due on the 9th. This Chase card that's due on the 18th. These are not 0% interest. So these are the ones I will be trying to get rid of ASAP, and then followed by the 0% interest. So what I have here is just my debt repayment plan. I came up with my own debt repayment plan. I don't need to pay anyone to do this. These are my real numbers. I'm showing y'all the real deal. These are real numbers. And so every month, this is how much I plan to pay out of my paycheck. And as you can see, that's why it is so expensive in the first months. But then once I get to July 1st here, these are my last payments. How much do I have in debt at the moment? $14,150. Most of this is for my house. I'm going to be honest. And most of this, as I mentioned, is 0%. So this is my real budget. It adds up. Again, I started with how much money did I have in my checking account at the end of the year? I had $2,308.28. And I have not put any income in here, but it basically says to go from January 1st through the 15th, I needed to come up with an additional about $3,500 based on this budget. I got these. How did I get these numbers? You're probably going to be like, okay, you got the list of expenses. You listed it out. How do you find your expenses? Go through what you pay. Go through your bills. Go through your credit card statements. Go through everything. Go through your Amazon account. Go through everything and figure out how much you're paying. And how I've done this is I've had the same budget for so many years that I looked back in January 2022. And also I looked back at how much things are costing towards the end of the year. And I can put how much it really should cost me for this month. I did this for every single month of the year, as I showed you. This is where I put expenses that pop up irregularly during the year. You need to make sure you have money for that. If you want to go on a trip for your birthday, make sure you have money for that. You could see I plugged in $2,000 in April because I want to go on a trip in April. I put that in my budget because that's the lifestyle I want to live. And it's there. And that's what I want. Another thing that I put in my budget For my birthday around here, I want to go on another trip. I put another $2,000. That's important to me, and I budgeted for it. So this $70,000 that I told you guys, or what is it? Yes, $70,000 that I told you guys it costs for me to live has a lot of fabulous living in it. As you can see, the end of the year, I have $2,000 in clothing and shoes and bags. This is how I budget to take advantage of a lot of deals and steals. I also have $1,000 for gifts. One thing that's important to me this year, my mother turns 60 years old. And so I know she wants a birthday party. So I put money in my budget to help her, and that's $1,500. Again, I am budgeting every month. If you want to buy somebody a gift for their birthday, put it in the budget in the month of the birthday, in the pay period of the month that you're going to buy the gift. That is how I did my budget. It does take time, but y'all, it is so worth it. My entire purpose of budgeting is to tell my money where to go so I can live the lifestyle I want to live now and later. So in a future video, when I go live, I'll show you all of my January expenses. I'll show you like what the expenses actually were compared to what I thought they would be, and how much money I started off with, how much I ended with, what looked a little funny, and how I made it work. It's a lot of juggling because I'm independent, I'm single, and I do this on my own. But I have to make sure that I have a plan for how I want to live now and later. And this is what my budget does. I'm telling my money where to go. Instead of thinking, now where the hell did my money go? I already know where my money's going for basically every month of the year. So when I have my first live, I'll try to put this template in it. So that'll make you watch the live. If you want this Excel budgeting, watch the live, and I'll put a link in it below. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any questions, leave it below, and I'll make sure I cover it when I do the monthly videos. But this is how I budget. This is the independent single black female budget of 2023. So I get to live how I want to live intentionally. So when people say, oh, I can't believe you buying the bag. Oh, I budgeted for the bag. I can't believe you going on this trip. I budgeted for the trip, as y'all can see. I budgeted for that. And I made sure that I had the money to cover that. Now, when the actuals come, if something is more then and we don't have the money for it, that's where the single part comes in. I get to say, oh, we're not doing that. So let me know your thoughts. I'm really excited to hear, what are you struggling with in your budget or in your money? Like, we are all struggling with something. And I will tell you what I'm struggling with. This year, my paychecks will be about $1,000 less than they normally were in 2022, just because of how I negotiated the split between my base pay and my bonus pay. I have to adjust my living. I have to adjust my lifestyle to having $1,000 less to play with every month. That's a lot of money. $1,000 per paycheck. $2,000 basically per month. I am bringing home less. So I had to adjust my budget. I had to play with these numbers. And probably in the next video, I'll tell you guys what I took out of my budget to make all this shit work. Because it takes work. Let me know what you're struggling with, because I just told you what I'm struggling with. I love you guys. As I say in every video, I want us to be blessed, to be a blessing. Girl Boss Beauties. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.